as you saw earlier in the newscast, the Prime Minister met with the premiers today. Last week, he met with Canada's Indigenous leaders to discuss the contentious Bill C-5, which allows the federal cabinet to approve major projects in this country. One of those people who attended the event was Chief Tabatha Bernard of Lennox Island First Nation, and she joins us from her office in Lennox Island. It's nice to see you, Chief.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. The meeting last week was your first. You're fairly new elected. What, about 6 weeks in the chair now?
6 weeks in the chair, yes.
All right. Okay. What was your impression of that conference in Ottawa?
I felt that the Prime Minister is willing to work with the First Nations peoples. I felt that he was there, he was listening, he wanted to hear what we had to say, he was engaged. So I'm hoping that the end result, we're gonna be able to sit down and work together.
That's important, because that wasn't necessarily the consensus among fellow chiefs going into that meeting.
No. But sitting down at the tables, speaking with the First Nations, speaking with the regional chiefs, I believe that some positives come out of that. Like, just to be there with the Prime Minister was a big step. It was a huge step for us.
Your question was selected for the session with Mr. Carney. What did you ask?
So I basically asked the Prime Minister about smaller First Nations. And I had asked that with the smaller First Nations not being able to get their elbows up, like, we need to be at the table, we need to be considered. And I recognize that there's an increase in capacity funds, but it's our recommendation that First Nations must be required to be partners or beneficiaries by default in projects within or affecting lands and waters. And they chose that question. And he did say that he was looking at that, and he was willing to move towards that too as well. There was going to be no decision made that day, but
right.
Yeah.
Were you satisfied with that response?
Yeah, I was.
What are the priorities when you look at projects, nation building? What are your priorities for Lennox Island?
Wind and energy. I believe that the Lennox Island has big wind energy and solar energy projects that I think could fit into the Eastern Energy Partnership that has been talked about. But whatever projects get on that list, like, we need to be there at that table. And for me, for Lennox Island, this is going to provide our members employment, training opportunities, and own source revenues for our band.
So you've got a couple projects on the go, in the works already. Is that right?
We do.
Yeah.
And at this time, I'd rather wait on that piece until I get more briefings on those.
Sure, fair enough. What's the relationship been with industry as you've been moving along with these?
Great. There's lots of discussion, and things seem to be going well. So I want to caution myself right now. I just want to.
Sure. You've been on council for a while. You're chief now, of course. Have you noticed a shift in the approach that governments and industry has been taking in regards to working with First Nations like Lennox?
Yes. Yeah. We're being heard. When we ask questions, when we attend meetings, the First Nation people are being heard, and that's what we want. Like, we get our points across, and we're working hard to help our community. I'm working hard to help my community. You know, I want to move projects forward. I want to work with the government, and I feel positive on that.
When you talk about being at the table, what does that look like? What does that entail?
So for me, being at the table is to be able to sit, have open dialogue, speak to the ministers, and talk to them about our concerns, talk to them about what's going on in our communities, and to be able to say, like, this is what's happening. This is what's happening in our community, and I know there's cuts. I know there's different things taking place, but how do we work together? How do we do this? How are we going to work together to better our First Nations?
And do you see a pathway to greater wealth with these projects you're looking at? for your, your community
Yes.
members? Yeah.
Yes. And we're growing. Our community's growing. We've got lots happening here in Lennox Island. And I'm newly elected, so I want to continue that growth. I want to continue being there for my community and making sure that I'm attending these meetings, very important meetings, that's going to move our community forward. I believe that I need to be at that table. In order to do so, I have to attend these meetings and stand up for what we believe in, what's right.
Well, Chief Bernard, we certainly appreciate you taking the time to tell us about that meeting last week and your plans for your community. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. Well, Alan.
Malawi, we'll take a break. We'll be back with more of your local news after this.